Let's. Okay, everybody. We are live with my dear friends, the Canvascasters. If you guys don't know Eddie and Marcus, they're a couple of my very favorite Canvas users. This is Mark Booth from the Canvas team. You guys are aware that with everything going on with COVID-19, we're trying to give you some extra special hints and best practices and tips about how to get up and moving on Canvas really quickly. Nobody's as good as that as the Canvascasters are. If you're not following them on Twitter, go check them out at Canvascasters. Follow along with their podcast. I might even call it the unofficial podcast of Canvas.
Easy.
It's awesome. So go give it a listen. I'm going to hand it over to Eddie and Marcus. We're going to talk today about announcements and how to best communicate with students. Take it away, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Mark. We're excited to be here. As Mark said, my name is Eddie, Innovation Coach at Central 9 Career Center. I'm just south of Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Marcus Painter. I'm the coordinator of digital learning at Twin Lakes School Corporation, which is up in Monticello, Indiana, just about 20 minutes north of Purdue University.
And we're really excited. Obviously, we're the Canvascasters. You can check us out at canvascasters.com or at Canvascasters. Brian, how's it going? I've got some C9 people in here, which is awesome.
Hey.
Brad's in here as well. We're lots of great things going on, obviously, with these webinars, as some of the stuff that happened yesterday. But Marcus and I are going to focus on communication, and I'm up first. So I'd like to share my screen. Mark, background, which is great. So share my screen here, Mark. That'd be awesome. First thing we're going to talk about is announcements. Now we've set up a staff tool belt. It's kind of in development, but that's the course I'm going to the stuff today, mainly because it doesn't have student data. So we'll take a look at our announcements tab here in our course. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open up your course tile, in this case, my staff tool belt. Once that is loaded up, the one thing I love the most about using this in this platform, it's kind of a one-stop shop to make announcements. All staff members are inside this Canvas course and they have access to Canvas. As you can see, we've been doing some announcements lately as things have gotten crazy over the last week or week and a half. The announcements tab over here, navigation in the announcements side, you can create a new announcement. In this case, them. But to create a new announcement, you'll just hit the plus announcement button here on the top right-hand side of your screen. And from there, you'll be able to use kind of that rich content editor to be able to put inside. So just kind of walking you through here. This is a test announcement. And then from here, you can details. You still have access to that rich content editor, which allows you to insert links, any type of photos. You'd like to use the media recorder, which we a little bit, which is an excellent way to kind of engage with your staff, kind of a baked in recorded message to people out there. I'll show you some examples of how that really. You can upload documents, files. You can use those selected apps and plugins like Studio and Google Apps, which is an option to just post suggestions of people inside the course. You can add additional attachments, delay the posting, allow users to comment, or allow liking or enable that podcast. In case I'm not going to save this, but once you're ready, you can hit save. An announcement will go live. If notifications are set for the users, that notification will go off in whatever platform they've decided. We always recommend the Canvas app to our students because it allows the teachers to really communicate with them. We've been using services like used Google Voice at some point, but to be exclusively Canvas on a lot of our tools and kind of using them as a replacement. Announcements is a great way to do that. An announcement and they can get notified right away on the Canvas app and respond back. So when we first launched this site, I created an under construction announcement. I wanted to kind of show you engagement went. And just kind of a welcome. This is where we're going to put all our resources, our professional developments, any quick links, any questions, don't hesitate, right, to reach out to me. And then the staff was responding, hey, everything looks good. It looks great. This is good engagement. But then I've got Brian Mendenhall, who's in here today. He says, Eddie, I wasn't thrilled with that.
Whoops.
Calling me a tool inside the chat. Not a big deal. I responded back with my message from the studio, which is my closet upstairs, Caster Studio. And I said, you know what, Brian? I guess I am a tool. I'm recording in a closet. But and you can put GIFs and things like that. So it's a really great engagement piece. And we wanted to start with announcements because it is kind of the one big thing that's out there that you can use right away. Marcus, take it away.
And, well, what I also like about announcements, and we talk about this with my staff, is that sometimes you don't necessarily need an assignment, or maybe what you're giving your students at that moment isn't an actual assignment within Canvas. So a lot of times you can just deliver some content in an announcement, and it's just a lot more efficient and causes less hassle, depending on what your student information system and LMS are doing. But I wanted to then transition to the inbox. It's very straightforward. It's super easy to use. Excuse me. And ultimately here, it's just basic email built in, right? And so I've selected a course that's, again, like Eddie said, has teachers as the students. This happens to be a state testing training course that I created here for Twin Lakes. And the inbox is very straightforward and intuitive. But it's, again, one of the big things that we're hearing all over the place of late is, if you go to distance learning or extended e-learning or whatever we're going to call that, what we do know is that the longer this continues, it's even more important to find creative ways to interact with our students, because we no longer get to be face-to-face in the conventional way. So, messaging is a really simple, easy way to do that. And so I just, in the left navigation within, clicked on inbox, and simple as composing an email sort of message. You can obviously click and start typing and get autofill of students within this course, or you can click on the little contact button there on the right and sort of click and choose folks that way. Obviously subject, and then compose your message. Now, I'm really more in love with the media recorder within this as well. And Eddie spoke to it about within announcements. The media recorder is sort of embedded in a lot of different aspects of Canvas. And if we're talking about having that personalized experience, the media recorder is a great tool for that. Could I easily compose a message to the entire course or selected folks within the course and then hit my media recorder button, let that guy load, and then I can record a video. In fact, I did this morning. Now, I did it in my announcement to my 8th grade technology kids, but I hit start recording, and I just talked to them for like 5-6 minutes about, what's been happening, and gave them a little bit of background on what we were going to do in class for the day. But this media recorder instance is within the composing of a message, which is a really great option. So let's say, concrete example, within my course, I've got 5 or 6 kids who have not completed the work for the day or the week. I can go ahead and message them here. There's another way to do it, but this is one way. I can message them, record a quick video. I think we all would agree that speaking to our kids, letting them see us and hear us is going to be more efficient for us, for sure, and definitely more engaging than a lengthy email message to them. So I really love the messaging option, but I love the built-in media recorder there. Edward.
Yeah, it's really good, Marcus. So we've talked about I'm here. We talked about announcements. We've also talked about inbox, which is fantastic. And I didn't mean to point to you. That's what's happening here, which is,
Hey, wait.
he points
Let's
at
high
me.
five. Let's high five.
Other way.
No.
Here ready?
Yes. High five.
We did it.
Okay.
We did it.
Kinda.
We did it. Okay. Sorry.
Actually,
we're having too much.
it should be
too much
it should be
fun with it.
elbows. We should be elbowing, right?
Ooh, you're right. Social distancing. Again, another C9 person here, Pat. Glad to see everybody's engaged in this weird, strange world. But we wanted to also touch upon a few more things. I know a few people came in the chat and said, as a newbie, you're going way too fast. So we'll try our best to slow down a little bit. I think our goal was to show you full communication side in a brief 30 minutes, but it will be recorded. So you will have the option and chance to go back and watch these at your own pace, which is why we love it. So I wanted to just touch briefly on message students who, and this. So Mark, if you shared my screen, that'd be amazing. Thank you. Great transition.
So smooth. So smooth.
Message so smooth. So smooth. Who, which is a feature that you have built gradebook, which is really cool. It's an option I know a whole lot about until a couple of months ago at my first NQ meeting when Ed on and said, "Have you ever tried Message Students Who?" And I'm like, "No." And then obviously my mind was blown because I do that's different or new in Canvas just blows my mind because I'm a newbie. So we've only had it for about since we purchased. So it's been an interesting time since we started using it and testing it. So Message Students Who in the gradebook. So under courses, find your grade inside your gradebook. The three dots, the option dots here, your assignment menu right next to your assignment titles. You'll find Message Students Who, which is a really cool feature that will allow you to either message students who haven't submitted yet, who haven't been graded yet, or had scored less than a specific, more than a specific amount on that specific assignment. So if you know that, like, hey, I've got 10 kids in here that haven't submitted this assignment, and probably a good idea to send them a message, communicate with them and let them know, hey, I have not received those. And instead of picking or finding those and finding your Gmail email address and for each student here, it's easy just to do this right inside Canvas. So you can message them specific to what option you're looking for. And then once you do that, you do have the option to kill a couple people. You want to take them out of here. If you want to say, okay, Sharon, I need to send it to her, Pat, you have the option to do that and really turn those people off or allow them not to get the message. You can then give a sub and then message those students. So I really like the Message Students Who feature. Marcus, have you used this feature at all at Twin Lakes?
Yes, and I'm sitting here listening to it and thinking about how I have used it a couple of times, but I was actually thinking about a little bit of a flashback to the way things were before Canvas. And I was having this terrible flashback of me scrolling through the grade book,
right,
and doing this thing, and like, oh, I got to find all the kids that scored all of the certain grades because I need to talk to them, right? Or I got to find all the empty boxes in the grade book because, whatever. And so one of the things that we love about Canvas is just that, the design of it, the intuitive nature of what's happening here. It makes our lives easier as educators, and therefore it makes things a whole lot easier for students, learners. And this is just another example of that with the Message Students Who. And I love that. I remember Kona Jones talking about that on the podcast, and I just was such a great application. Again, if we're going to try to give feedback and personalize what we're doing, right? We want to make sure that we can do that, right. And that's a great way to accomplish that task.
But we'll probably do questions at the end.
I can do questions at the end. You want to move on, and then
we had a question here specifically about question specifically about inbox. Will choosing the course name in inbox automatically send the same email to all students? So you are more familiar with inbox, used it that much in my instance. So
Yeah. So when you go to compose that message, and then you basically in that to section, you can choose from any of the courses that you're a part of. And that means also multiples. So you would go and select that course that you're going to send the message to. And it's pretty quick and painless there as well. Just because it just popped up and caught my eye, Rick wants to know if there's a limit to how long a media message can be.
I saw that.
I don't know. I did a 6-minute one this morning. I did 6 minutes this morning.
Jump in right now.
Somebody pop in and let us know. But I mean, I did 6 minutes. Again, this is the media recorder within an assignment or whatever. I didn't use it for instruction per se, but I'm not familiar with any limit. I know that when I did 6 or 7 minutes, which is sort of a good comfort zone in terms of chunking video content, I had no problems, and it was click, 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 and it was there. I'm sure as they go longer, your videos go longer. Right. Certainly, you're going to have a little bit more processing time just because of that file. But maybe somebody who's smart can pop in and tell us that there's an exact amount. What do you think, Eddie?
I think we're going to jump into, I know there's some comments here about my audio, which I'm trying, I don't know. It looks good on my end. And then
he has
some people said, well, on Twitter, it looks a little different. Or I do have some AirPods in that is true to input audio. So if we're messing up, I'll go to the over-the-ear headphones. But let's continue. I know feedback.
Yeah.
And Chris uses feedback in his courses that he instructs on.
Yeah. Mark, go ahead and bring me up. All right. Do we see a big, ugly click here to complete? All right. So this is part of my module. So I was doing our state mandated testing. This was the training module. But we've talked a lot about, how we can personalize our feedback. And certainly in this particular example, I wouldn't probably have used this because this was sort of a you did it or you didn't scenario. But I wanted to bring up something to show you how you can provide some video or audio feedback. Again, I don't remember who it was that brought it up on the podcast and said, oh, maybe it was Kona again. Probably. She's the princess of Canvas. But
she is.
She is. And I'm the Wookiee, but big and hairy. But we're live. We are live. So SpeedGrader, when you go into SpeedGrader so I'm in an assignment within a course, right? So, of course, I would have had some better looking assignments here if I was using, my actual class. But in this case, if I bring up SpeedGrader on an assignment, so I'm in the assignment over here, you can see I'm under the assignments within a course, and I'm going to come over here to SpeedGrader, which is a whole other ball of wax in terms of being awesome. But I'm going to bring up SpeedGrader just to show, hopefully. There we go. So I'm in SpeedGrader here, and you can see I've got, 73 folks that are enrolled in this particular course. And the only reason I want to bring this up is the media recorder here for feedback. Okay, so we keep coming back. Eddie and I are like a broken record here for you this afternoon. But yes, SpeedGrader is great. You can pop in your scores quickly. You can see the content right there. It's super great. You can add your comments, which I still do, even when I do provide some audio or video feedback. Again, we can give both of those. We can give the media as well as the text. I prefer to give them the video and then give them sort of a list of bullet points for feedback, because they can always refer back to either of those. But in SpeedGrader, I can again click on the media recorder, and again, it brings up that same thing that we've seen now in announcements and assignments all over the place, and I can record a video talking to my students individually. In this case, this thing I'm recording would go directly to that student as part of their feedback. And you want to talk about being efficient. You want to talk about saving yourself valuable time as a teacher.
Right.
This is where it's at, because I can say what I need to say in less time, can be more to the point,
Right.
and talk about authentic and valuable feedback, right? I could certainly do a bulleted list in the comments and say, oh, you know, your writing was this and this and this, and work on sentence structure and language conventions need work. And I really enjoyed your closing comments. I could do those. I can still do those, but it feels different when your teacher is speaking to you directly and talking to you. And so I really love that ability for us to give some authentic feedback to our learners within SpeedGrader.
Right. More as well.
Please do.
Because sorry, you don't have to show the Mark's mug if you
Is there a way to just get rid of both of our faces?
We need so and that's like the authentic feedback is a good piece, and what Mark has talked about is so valuable. The fact that it is baked in to do that, I'm telling with other, we're not going to name any names. It's really a piece that I think really sets it apart, like the ability for me to get on face, but show my emotion instead of writing a lengthy email to the student, right? Or even doing comments on a Google Doc. Like this is the piece, right?
Yep.
And I know that I've had, because I taught audio video production, I had students that didn't. I don't want you to see my face. There is, next to that media recorder is also an audio recorder. So if you're uncomfortable, or let's say 30, you haven't taken a shower yet, done your hair, it's a great place to really pop in, hit just the audio recording. I'm telling you, the last few days, because we're in this weird situation, I'm doing more audio recording. I usually don't mind putting my face in the bottom left-hand corner on video that I'm recording for staff, but I use the built every time. And I definitely have been doing more audio recording feature than I would have otherwise, just because this is a different time. We never know when we're going to have this face-to-face point, right? We're on this weird place, but we get that, we should take it. So if you have a chance, more people are having difficulty hearing me. I'm trying. If you get that chance, you make that you use the video piece, but there is an option to do. Is incredible.
Yeah. And obviously, like, you know, Canvas, you guys brought a couple of ringers in here to talk about, you know, media, video, and audio, because that's kind of what we're into. So certainly it's something that we're passionate about. But I know that in my corporation, we've made that a priority. So in my corporation, we have Canvas for grades 6 through 12, and it is a necessity that teachers utilize some of these tools that we talked about today as part of their e-learning, whether it be sort of in a conventional snow day or weather sort of e-learning day, or in this case, certainly the you know, sort of an extended experience. It's just so important, because that's the concern, right? That's the thing that people are starting to think ahead and think about is, you know, what does our learning look like, you know, in mid-April, May,
Right.
when we're doing this sort of thing. And so I really hope that all the folks watching today and later today and throughout the next couple of weeks with these live webinars, I hope that everybody really sort of considers like all of these things and how impactful and authentic they are in really making the best of what is truthfully not an ideal situation for learning for a lot of us. And Canvas makes it easy. So
yeah. And we've had a few questions pop in about like not being able to find the features that we showed today. Very well be possible. A lot of these things have to be turned on by your Canvas. So Brooke, please, if you're still having issues, we hear Brooke says she message a student who feature. Please jump on and send an email to the Canvas administrator and say, hey, I'm having issues finding that message. And hopefully it's a service that can be turned on for you. Again, we're not Canvas administrators in your district, so we're trying to show you. Brad, great message here, right? We are leveraging a lot of technology right now because a lot of us are forced into this. And Marcus and I got the opportunity to at least show you some things that we love on the communication side.
For sure. Eddie, what do you want to do a little like teaser of conferences? Like a real quick, like this is a thing that exists? Do we have one coming up that's talking about conferences?
I don't know, Mark.
Do it.
I don't know what's on the schedule. So the boss man is here. If you want to jump into conferences, that's a really cool feature that can also be. So we've got what, 4 minutes?
You're fine if you go over.
Okay. All right. What do you think, Eddie? You want to bring it up? You want me to bring
Marcus,
it up? All right.
I'll let you do it because you're G.
That's his nice way of calling me old. All right. I am going to back out here. All right. So conferences has been a hot topic. So
it's hot.
It is. It truly is. And we talked about it on the podcast this week. And I spent a good chunk of time over the last few days talking to teachers about how they might use this. So within a course, again, you're going to go to conferences. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind with your students is that they may not be able to see conferences. So you want to go to the settings of your course and double check on that. So I'm going to go settings and I'm under we've got these tabs up here and I switched over to navigation. And luckily for me in this course, my conferences are under the course navigation are visible, but you can see down here, there are items that you can hide from your students in the navigation. Okay. So if conferences was down there, you would want to enable it. So you can drag and drop, or you can hit the 3 dots and enable or disable. But in order for the kids to see that, you'll want to double check and make sure that they can see the conferences portion on the left side navigation. So that's first thing. Now in conferences, like we've heard this, and maybe everybody else knew this, and maybe I'm the one that was kind of new to it, but there's this talk of, there's synchronous and asynchronous learning, right? So this is a way for teachers to communicate with students or even families live, right? In real time. So, you can basically send out a message, an email, an announcement within your course and say, I plan to be available live at this time on this date. Be there if you can to your students or to your, depending on maybe parents, if you've got younger students. And so then you create the conference and you create it sort of in real time ahead of that schedule. And so you name it. You can set your duration of time. You can enable recording of the conference, which is super important for those that can't be there live. There can be a recorded version. You can give a description, and then you invite all the members of the course. And so then you update that, and I will go ahead and do that. At some point, I'm going to get infinity screens. So now I've got, under new conferences, I've got this conference ready, right? And so there's a settings. I always check the gears just to be safe. And then you can go ahead and start that conference. And I won't do that right now. But when I start that conference, we're live. And I can, if I've told students ahead of time, this is when we're meeting, they are going to start populating. I can mute them all at once. I can do all of the things that you would expect in any other webinar sort of platform that you're familiar with. But the $1 million value here is it's baked right in, right? That's Eddie's term.
Right.
It's built right into Canvas. So all the people, everybody on the interwebs that's talking about this, what about this one? Or what about this? Or let's try this. And you saw on the news that this teacher did this whatever. Don't, because it's right here. It's right here. There's no other accounts. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to make a video doing the step-by-step tutorial for kids on how to create the account in the other thing. You just have to do it. And it's right here built in. And that's, again, so convenient, so powerful. And now we can have live interaction. I just had this conversation with a teacher this morning, and she was like, how could I use this? And I said, honestly, you don't have to necessarily do like a live class. You know, how about just try it out by getting kids to show up, see that there are other people in the conference, interact, and go from there. Like, have one trial run. Like, okay, we all figured that out. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to teach a lesson.
Right.
You know, but it's super, just so good.
I think it is really good. We actually used it. We were kind of in emergency mode, right? Let's get everybody together virtually if we can. Really figure out. It was that one thing that we might, when we wanted to do some live stuff, and unfortunately, I couldn't stand in front of my staff and talk about Zoom or other tools to give that step by instruction. So what was really cool at conferences anyways is like, this is a neat tool to use for teams, PLCs. If you want to do a staff meeting inside Canvas, again, we talk about the term baked in, but the reason why I love consistent, and that's something that I've always strived for, is just keeping things consistent for the learners in my case, so that they don't have to go to something new. There goes one of the AirPods. Maybe that's why we're having issues.
Pod down. Pod down.
Pod down. Still got you. But I think that's the one piece that I was really excited for when I first saw it a couple of weeks ago, was like, we don't need to teach. It's inside Canvas. They're already there, so we can collaborate with a conference. It's a great thing for teams, a great thing for staffs to get together virtually, and then obviously try it with your students as well. Limit, Mark.
You guys nailed it. So everybody, make sure you tune in. We're going to be doing these a couple times a day over the next little bit. If there's specific topics you want us to cover, let us know. Stick them in the comments. Big shout out again to the Canvascasters, Eddie and Marcus. Go follow them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram, follow them on Friendster, Napster.
I am huge on MySpace still.
Napster.
Thanks, everybody. We'll be talking to you again.